You're just stressed to limits because your to-do list is a mile long. Do you think you're a good multitasker? And of course, yes, I'm a great multitasker. Guys, you're working 6, 7, let's call it 8 days a week, and you're busting your hump. You are busier than you know what you are, and you don't have time for everything. You especially don't have time for business, callbacks, responses, reviews, all of that stuff, but you also don't have time for family. You don't have time for fun because you're just stressed to limits because your to-do list is a mile long. Well, I've got something I think can solve that, and it's called batching. So when an agent comes to me and we talk about this, and this is kind of the symptoms they're having, the one question I like to ask them is, do you think you're a good multitasker? And of course, yes, I'm a great multitasker. I can do a lot of things at once. That's our problem. If we're switching tasks every 20 minutes, we're losing 3 hours a week in our brain having to catch up with context. It's a proven fact. So multitasking is cool if you're like cooking and you've got to, watch the timer on this, stir this, take this out of the oven. Totally cool. That's kind of the same concept, but you're doing multiple tasks at once. What's not good for you is when you're trying to do 3 major things all at the same times with no rhythm, back and forth like a ping pong. That's where it's driving you crazy. That's where you're wasting a lot of time. And that's why you don't have the time you need to be a good human, a good family person, a good agent, a good sibling, whatever it is, because you are wasting all that time switching back and forth. I've got 3 things I want to hit when it comes to batching. So first, let's just start with what is batching. And it's grouping similar tasks together in a row so you can keep the same mental mindset going through all of these things. So a lot of people ask me like, well, how do I know what I'm doing when, the batching, like I just kind of go. Well, first, let's see if you have a calendar. And if you're using an electronic calendar, great, step 1. If you're using Google, better. Because when I use Google Calendar, you can color code your appointments. You have to go in and manually do it, and you label them all these different colors. And what it does is it tracks it on the left side. So if you have prospecting as green, and you have family time as blue, and you have travel in your car as red, it is counting that on the side, and you can just click on it, and it'll show you, hey, you did 8 hours of showings this week, or you did 3 hours of personal time, whatever it might be. So that's one way of doing it. If you really want to get into this, and I think you should, I think you need to do a time audit. This is nothing new if you've been watching my videos. Dan also goes into his book, and I'm not just here to be a Dan fan, but this kind of just really resonates with what we're talking about right now. It is a 15-minute, what are you doing for 2 weeks? Sounds like a big pain. It gets annoying, but it is so impactful. Guys, you set the timer to start when you walk in the door to the office, your home office, whatever it is, and every 15 minutes it goes off. All you're gonna do is on a piece of paper, write down what you're doing that minute or that last 15 minutes. Showings, contracts, bathroom, eating, talking to a coworker, whatever it is, just be honest with it, right? So if you wanna take a step further, you can make a Google form, fill it out in there, and it'll put it in a spreadsheet for you. But that's a little high tech for some of y'all, so let's just stick with paper. When you're done with those 2 weeks, it's a lot. You can feed that into AI and say, hey, categorize this for me, give me a time audit, see where my time went. So what that will do is that will tell you how much time you're doing on certain tasks. That's cool. But what it'll also do is it'll put it in a day. And you'll be able to see that, hey, I walked in the office, I started prospecting, and the next 15 minutes I was answering a client's call because we were going over the repair addendum because they called me out of the blue. And the next 15 minutes, I got a Zillow lead, so I was talking to them on the phone. And the next 15, and the next 15, and the next 15. And what you're starting to see is your brain is hopping between tasks, mental tasks, not stirring pots and taking things out of the oven, but mental tasks that you have to use and be present for. And every time you switch those tasks, your brain has a lag to get to the next one because it's still thinking about the last one, it's trying to catch up on the first one, and that middle zone is pretty much dead. So you've got to batch them together. So let's talk about that. Let's say we start with batching our prospecting. Maybe it's Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and you're gonna do that from 9 to 11 a.m. Fantastic. What are you doing when it's really prospecting? Well, first, you're going to respond to any new leads that came in that night because those are hot and fresh. Also, if any leads come in during this time, you're gonna stop what you're doing and respond to those leads. Now, I know I just said don't switch between tasks, but that's the same task, same mindset, you're just doing a little bit different of the same category. But you're allowed to do that. Now, don't stop what you're doing and then go start writing a blog for your website. That's a different task. So let's keep talking about prospecting. You're gonna do that, you're gonna walk in, respond to old leads that came in overnight, you're gonna respond to any that come in during that time, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna do your follow-up with leads. And I kind of equate this, and I kind of look at it this way. When I go to the gym, I usually get there at 5:30 in the morning, and my body's not ready to work out. It's sore, it's stiff. The stretching probably is the best part of the entire thing. But if I didn't stretch and my body's still sore and I just jump into deadlift, my body is going to react in a way that is going to feel clunky, it's not going to feel fluid, and I'm probably going to hurt myself. You're probably not going to hurt yourself with leads, but what will happen is if you just get in there and follow with one lead and then get sidetracked, and then 30 minutes later follow with another, you've probably felt this before. You're not smooth, you're not fluid. The first 2 or 3 reach outs you do when you're doing prospecting, it feels cold and icy and you're like, oh, that wasn't that good. But the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th one, guys, you're like, I'm getting my rhythm. Oh yeah, I said that earlier, but I'm gonna say it this way now. I feel like I've got objection handling, blah, blah, blah. Like you're in the zone and your brain is dialed in. It's ready to attack your prospecting. I think that's why so many of us do not like prospecting, because we're doing it wrong. You're not putting the focus there all in a concerted effort to keep it fluid. You're being choppy and you're losing people because your delivery is not good, because you're not doing it over and over and over again in a repeatable fashion. Guys, I know you've had these days when it comes to like follow-ups or prospecting where you get 2 reach outs done and you're like, man, that's all I had time for. And you ever had those days where you've like cranked out 50 outbound calls and you're like, how did I do that? It's probably because nobody's bothering you. It's probably because you were just focused on that. I like how Hermosi likes to share how he focuses. Now, I don't do it quite this way, but he talks about, he puts a Zen in his mouth, he puts noise canceling headphones on, he puts music on top of that, he gets a cup of coffee and he goes. He can't hear anything, he's got some caffeine, he's got some nicotine, and he is in the zone for that time. Nothing can bother him, nothing can stop him, because all the outside world is turned off. Imagine if we did that in our business. Imagine we started batching those things, how more productive we would be at the task we have. Imagine if you did your client follow-ups all in the same day in a row. So you start your Thursday and you know you're doing your client follow-ups or your listings and you're pulling comps on this house and you're pulling comps on your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th house right in a row. You're in the zone. You know what you're doing. You got your papers, you got your highlighters. You know what you're looking for and your mind is set up for it. But if you don't start batching things, you're always going to be ping-ponging. You're always going to have a list. You're always going to have random things that pop in your head at 2 a.m. and you're not going to be able to sleep because you don't have a plan. So here's my challenge for you. I want you to look at your calendar and pick one thing that you're struggling with. And I want you to make that your batch item next week. And when you do that, I want you to find 2 hours on your calendar and I want you to block that off like it's a closing. Guys, you don't miss closings. You don't not show up to closings. Why are you not showing up to your business? You get 2 hours uninterrupted, whether you got to be at your office, your home office, whatever it is, shut the door, turn off the music, sit down and focus, put your phone on do not disturb, do not have your email open unless you're doing emails, and focus on your topic. See how much you can get done, because I guarantee you'll get 3 times more done than you thought you would. So as we wrap up this video, I hope you took something away from this, and it is multitasking is not good for you unless you're cooking something. What is good for you is batching. So let's take baby steps. I know it's a different philosophy for a lot of people. Let's take baby steps. And if you follow that challenge I just gave you and it works, next week add 2 things. Next week, add 3 things, but don't do your whole week. You can't do your whole week because you are an agent and you do have to do showings and listing appointments, but you could batch those too. You could batch the time, you could batch the effort to make sure you're being as responsive as possible, but yet also showing up for the people you love most. If this really resonates with you, drop me a DM. We run a mastermind that really digs into people's businesses, efficiency, and what they're really missing so they can be the best agents they are. You can call it coaching, that's great, but this is actually going to be a circle of your peers that are already doing it and already being there. So you might be a great fit for this. This might be exactly what your business needs. If you're interested, DM me. If you're not, don't. It's okay. But I do appreciate you watching this, and I hope you enjoy it. And let me know what issues you're having in your business, and let's tackle those things one thing at a time.